Let me see what the official timekeeper says.
It wasn't like a point.
I got 5 o'clock.
Is it ordinance?
All right. We'll go ahead and call the Monday, January 7th, 2013 meeting to order. Please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, roll call. Carol Sue, please. Here.
Bob Bishop.
Here.
Joe Buck.
Here.
Barry Cox.
Here.
Charlie Hasty.
Here.
Chuck Liddell.
Here.
Lisa Popejoy. Present.
Approval minutes from the December 17th meeting.
Your Honor, ask the minutes be approved as presented.
Second. It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Jeremy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Bob Bishop.
Yes.
Joe Buck.
Yes.
Barry Cox.
Yes.
Charlie Hasty.
Yes.
Chuck Liddell.
Yes.
Teresa Popejoy. Yes.
Minutes are approved on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed. Under comments of the mayor, I'd like to thank council, first of all, for your first year under your belt. I know it's been challenging at times and we're overworked, but I expect many of the same challenges next year. We have a full and busy agenda. It's been a pleasure working with you, and I look forward to the next year as well. I also wanted to notify you that not this Wednesday, but on the next Wednesday, January 16th, we will welcome a delegation of Chinese school officials to the city. This is as a result of a trip that City Attorney and State Senator Randy Head made to China last year. He opened some doors for us. This delegation is coming here in order to establish a memorandum of understanding with the Logansport Community School Corporation. There are 7 principals that are coming, principals of Chinese schools. Each principal is bringing an assistant with them. They're going to spend all or part of 3 days here in Logansport. So just wanted to give you the heads up that that is taking place. And with that, I would ask if there's any petitions or comments of citizens. Hearing none. I'm sorry. Please come forward. State your name and address, please.
My name is Tom Partridge, and my wife Terry and I own the Pear Tree Gallery at the southwest corner of 4th and Market here in downtown Logansport. And my comments here today are about ordinance number 2012-51. I've worked in retail business since I was 15 years old, having started in my parents' business, Partridge Floor Coverings, in the old Flatiron building that stood at the point of Erie and Market Streets. After 30 years away from the downtown area, Terry and I decided to start a new venture and located our new business at the corner of 5th and North. We love the feeling of being downtown, so we decided to make the investment of buying our present building, and we recently celebrated our 12th year in business last October. So I feel I know a little bit about owning a retail business, along with property ownership and what makes it work. Although I can greatly appreciate all the hard work that the Planning Commission and its committee members, the City Council, the BZA, and the Mayor's Office have put forth in trying to create a more friendly atmosphere for the development of downtown Logansport, I feel I must respectfully object to the proposed wording of this 2012-51 ordinance. To be quite honest, as a business and property owner in the heart of the city, I am pretty disappointed in the possible passage of said ordinance due to what I see as a lack of understanding in just what makes a downtown district viable and ultimately better concerning growth and what a downtown's business district is really all about. I believe the general main purpose should be primarily the development of retail commercial business, which brings me to what my objection to this ordinance is all about. First, I don't really have much of a problem with allowing senior housing development in downtown Logansport. My personal opinion is that it's not really needed or even a good investment for a developer, but that is just my humble opinion. People who are most likely much smarter than myself tell us repeatedly that you must have downtown living to make your downtown successful. But I really don't think that particular kind of use at the southeast corner of 4th and Market would be very smart. And I'm just throwing in that comment for the record. But that is not the focus of my objection here today. What my objection is the wording of this proposed ordinance, specifically the lack of inclusion of an important stipulation. That's my real concern. There is no direction or wording stipulating that the first floor of the allowable proposed senior housing structure must contain any retail commercial space. And I strongly believe it should, at least if the structure would be built on Broadway or Market Streets. These are the two main thoroughfares of our city, our main business district. And that is what any new development should be first and foremost about, bringing more retail-related businesses to these areas. If you want to build a housing complex all the way to the ground floor with no retail space, fine, but do it someplace like Melbourne Avenue, High Street, or anywhere else. But if you're going to build on our main streets, where visitors and locals expect to see retail shopping experiences, not just a big housing complex, then I believe you must require first floor retail commercial spaces. And you know, what a positive thing for downtown. This could create retail-ready spaces that I believe we greatly need to attract a number of potential businesses, like a bookstore, a cafe, boutique clothing, etc. I believe potential businesses would love to find move-in ready, newly constructed sites that could be rented to get their new businesses off to a safe start. Not the present bad condition spaces that need lots of renovation dollars just to get the doors open. Plus, I believe the way this ordinance currently reads, it would allow myself to turn the Pear Tree Gallery into a senior housing center all the way to the ground if I so chose to do that. So could any building anywhere in the downtown area. That seems kind of short-sighted. So I'm asking that the council look at this very closely. At the least, send it back or whatever you do and add some wording that would require first floor retail if something is constructed on our two main streets. It only makes good business sense. Thank you for allowing me to express my concerns. Any comments or questions?
Tom, so your specific problem is just having housing on the bottom floor, is that correct?
All the way to the ground.
And you're concerned about being able to do that at any business downtown?
Well, I'm just saying that if this ordinance, the way it reads, the gallery, Jim Adkins' building, my building, I could just say, well, I'm going to put in a senior housing center, and I can run it all the way to the ground because that's what it says I can do. That is not what I want to do. It's just that I think we should have retail requirements for the first floor. It's done that way in a lot of places.
Well, I would agree with you that I don't think we'd want our whole downtown
Yeah, I mean, that's
living
probably
space.
not going to happen,
Yeah.
but it could, the way this is written.
Can I ask Aaron a question here? Aaron, can you tell us, can any downtown business build on the bottom floor with this change?
Let me give you a little bit of what we currently have in our ordinance, and that's commercial apartments. So what commercial apartments are the only basically residential that's allowed downtown other than some accessory residential. And those are for second, third, fourth stories, anything above the first floor. So I know that there's been some confusion that there's currently standards in place that says commercial can only be on the first floor, but actually it's just that the only residential we allow are on second, third floors. That's kind of giving that assumption. What we're proposing today is an actual use. So the actual use is senior housing. So when we talk about commercial on the first floor, that should really be a standard of our downtown overlay district. If that's something that we want to do, the council wants us to look at, it should definitely be something that's taken to the plan commission to look at only allowing commercial on the first and second floor. But what we're talking about today is just the use of senior housing, not specifically whether it goes to the top, to the bottom, just the use itself. So technically, yes, we're allowing the use, so it could happen in any building. But like I said, the standard of being on the first floor or not should be something that's within the standard of the downtown overlay district versus within the use table.
Yeah, and this ordinance does specifically call out senior housing for the bottom floor.
Right, and that's only the use table and parking. So technically, there's nowhere in there that we could really specify no senior housing on the first floor unless we added a definition, which would then change that. But I would rather it be for any type of use. If that's a concern, we don't want to just look at senior housing. We want to look at any type of use that may be coming in, whether it's apartments or what have you. So that should be a standard within our overlay district that says first floor on Market and Broadway, or Market 3rd and 6th, or whatever the committee would come together and decide, should be in the standards itself, not within the use table. Does that make sense?
So Tom's concern about, with this ordinance, these other businesses couldn't just turn, could they turn the bottom floor into housing if they called it senior housing?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. But that would be something that we could definitely change in our downtown standards, downtown overlay standards, if that's a concern of the council and the citizens. But that would be the location that we would need to change it in, not within the use section.
I think he's got a legitimate point here then that we need to look at.
I think, and I don't want to speak for anybody else, but from the folks that I've talked to that have downtown businesses, that it's about creating an atmosphere and maintaining that. And there's been a lot of steps taken in the last few years with folks like Tom and Terry opening a shop downtown, and a lot of long-standing businesses downtown that could have very easily packed up and moved away to another part of town. They want to maintain that feel that downtown is striving for, to eventually become a shopping destination, even more so than what it is. And quite frankly, they're the property owners there. They're the ones that are there in and out every day, and who better to know what would work downtown than the people who own businesses there.
And as Tom mentioned, the senior housing on Melbourne or some of our other streets that aren't our main thoroughfares, on 4th Street, even Tom has a storefront on Market, but he doesn't have a storefront on 4th Street. So in doing that, if we looked at just Market and Broadway and put that within the standards, I mean, that could be something to create that atmosphere. Senior housing, the reason why we brought it forward as just a use is because that's what our comprehensive plan has in it. And so we brought it just forward as the use without any additional standards. If that's something that you want to see, we could definitely bring forward additional standards within that downtown overlay district.
Would if we would table this a month, would that give the overlay time to make the changes they need?
Well, I'll be gone on maternity leave, but Chris will be here. So it would
Again?
be, it wouldn't be till February. Yeah.
Well, we wouldn't
Okay.
have to table this ordinance because the change.
Right, this is
it's
just the use. This
Right.
would be changing something else within our downtown standards. But it would be a February meeting because we've already had to put notification in for our January meeting.
Okay, so you could have something in by February then?
To Plan
Or
Commission,
first-
which would then come to council in March.
Tom, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I don't care how
I
it's
think that
done.
would solve the problem that you're
Yeah,
talking about.
just as long as, it's, the downtown area is called the Arts and Design District. It's not called the Arts and Design and Senior Living District. Well, although I'm not against the senior living, I'm not against this idea, but if it happens on Market and Broadway, I just want to make sure that we still have what looks like a business area downtown.
I agree.
Okay? That's all I care.
Tom, let me ask you this. Would you be satisfied if the design standard on the senior housing complex, any senior housing complex, and we know of at least 3 right now that are looking at downtown at 3 different locations, would you be satisfied if, for lack of a better term, if the first floor were at least disguised as retail, although it actually housed residential property behind it? And what's
No.
your objection to that?
No, I don't want a faux retail place. I mean, it's got to, that's what we need downtown, is more places. Because, we hear it all the time. There's no place to shop downtown. That's not true. That isn't true, but that's what people say. Well, we'll go to Kokomo or Lafayette or whatever. There's no place in Logansport to shop. There's nothing downtown.
Right.
We got to fight that, and this is one way if this would work. And I'm not opposed to somebody doing something, and I'm not saying they got to have the whole first floor, at least the part that faces the streets, that a certain percentage of square footage or something. I mean, I envision a senior housing center with retail in the front half of the first floor, and the back half could still be their community room or whatever you want it to be. But I think we want the possibility of some kind of...
Yeah, you could have a lobby downstairs and a Starbucks or something.
Sure, yeah.
Hey, that would sound good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You have a small grocery.
Yeah.
yeah.
And senior housing usually brings other developments with it, so a small, and even, entrepreneurs that are looking in downtown could use a smaller space versus some of these larger buildings. But like I'm saying, this is actually the use to allow senior housing versus a standard of commercial on the first floor. So if that's something the council want us to bring forward, I mean, we can meet with our planning commission and bring that forward. It would be your March meeting.
But it really doesn't affect tonight's ordinance.
No, because this is just the use to allow senior housing, and so that stipulation would actually be within that overlay district.
Okay.
Not the use itself.
Thanks, Tom.
All right, thank you.
I would like to ask, in that vein, if we were to go ahead and approve this ordinance tonight, and we have something developed, but before we can do the downtown, change the downtown overlay standards, that we try to adhere to that. I don't want to rush something through and
Sure.
not.
But this would go before Plan Commission next, and then come before City Council.
but I
You're
just
saying
don't-
with the use, if someone
Right.
came in tomorrow,
If somebody comes in tomorrow and wants to build a senior
they would be
housing-
based off of what we currently have, our standard, if they pulled a permit. Now, if they're just talking to us, it doesn't matter. If they pulled a permit, it would be under what the standards are currently.
Yes.
But that's something that,
Teresa, if it makes you feel better, there's nothing imminent.
Okay,
This does take
I
two
just don't
votes.
want to railroad something.
this is
through.
the second vote.
This is the second
Oh,
one.
it is?
Yeah, it's the
Oh, I'm
second.
sorry, I missed last meeting.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's up to the council what you
Yeah.
want to do. But tonight is just the use itself versus that standard of having commercial.
I don't have a problem with the senior housing by any means, but I don't want to see something get railroaded through. I agree wholeheartedly with what Mr. Partridge has said.
Thank you.
My thoughts right now, if senior housing is downtown, doesn't that bring more customers?
If you can look into a crystal ball and tell me that, you're a lot better man than me.
Well, I'm
Yeah, I
thinking,
mean,
I'm
that's
thinking
the idea.
what
I mean,
a lot of-
when it comes down to it, if that thing would even be built, let's say at the farmer's market lot, I have mixed feelings about it, very mixed feelings about it. It potentially could make my business or my building worth more money. Maybe, I don't know. Would it bring more business to me to have that there or to have it any place downtown? That's the $64,000 question. I don't know. I'm sure it would do something, but I don't think they're going to beat the door down.
No,
To get in there. But, it's growth, Joe.
Right.
It is growth, and I'm all for growth. There's not a business person downtown that isn't for growth. We've got to tweak this thing a little bit to make it work for everybody.
And what we've lost over the last 30 years in Logansport due to fires, wind, whatever, a lot of people in my constituent have said, we want to see something built downtown, something positive, because they haven't seen that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the feeling in the community.
I'm thinking this would be a good seed for downtown.
If it's done properly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, sure it would be.
I'd like to try something.
Yeah, but, like I say, in my main concern about adding this thing to it is that if you don't, and it's done forever, okay? So that's why I'm asking you to think very seriously about this type of thing, okay?
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Any other
Tom.
questions?
Thank you, Aaron.
Yes. Please come forward, state your name and address, please.
My name is Diana Brown. I live at 1229 High Street in Logansport. And I just have a comment about ordinance 2012-51 also. I agree with Tom that if this is passed, that it should include retail on the first floor. We need new businesses that people can move into and start. You know, they don't have the money to buy one of these old buildings and renovate them. So if you could include that, I think that would encourage businesses downtown. I do not object to housing downtown. I think that's a great idea, but I also agree it should not be on Market or Broadway. Those are our main business thoroughfares, and I think housing just doesn't belong there, but if it's going to go, it should have retail on the bottom. I also think that by passing this ordinance, you're taking away the voice of the downtown business owners. They will no longer have a way to object to this. And if you will recall, the last time we tried to get senior housing through downtown, almost all of the surrounding business owners were here to speak against it, and they were dismissed in the newspapers, a handful of disgruntled downtown people. So I think that in anything that's done downtown, no one is going to agree on everything, but there should be a general consensus and agreement on what does happen. Thank you.
Okay, are there any more petitions or comments of citizens? Yes, please come forward, state your name and address.
Mercedes Brew, 1315 East Market Street. I'm here for the same purpose. I don't have any more to add. I just wanted to let you know that's why I was here. Thank you for listening and considering changing this for the better.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mercedes.
Another call. Are there any more petitions or comments of citizens? All right, hearing none this time. Are there any reports from committees, boards, or commissions?
Rules Committee met prior to council tonight, Mr. Mayor, and we have quite a few blanks to fill in when we get to resolutions. So your patience will be required as we fill in some of the blanks for you.
Okay, and when we get to resolution 2013-1, I will ask you to fill in the blanks.
Okay.
Okay. Are there any more reports from committees, boards, or commissions? Hearing none. There's a change to the agenda tonight. Trent Newport with Crossroads Engineering is not going to be able to be here, but he has promised to be at our February 4th meeting. He'd like to give a final report about the roundabout at Chase Road and Davis. Under new business, resolution 2013-1, Councilman Liddell, please.
Resolution 2013-1, a resolution organizing the Logansport Common Council presidency and standing committee memberships for the year 2013. Your Honor, I call for a vote on resolution 2013-01.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion?
Your Honor, I would like to amend resolution 2013-1 to fill in the blanks as we had this meeting at 4:30 today, if that will be allowable. In section 1, Joe Buck is hereby designated to serve as president of the Common Council of the City of Logansport, Indiana. In section 2, regarding the committees, for recording purposes, they will remain the same. So that'll make it easier for the clerk treasurer to take care of that. But Finance Committee will be chaired by Teresa Popejoy with Bob Bishop and Gary Fox serving. Public Safety will be chaired by Joe Buck with Bob Bishop and Charlie Hastings serving. Rules Committee will be chaired by Chuck Liddell with Jeremy Ashcraft and Gary Fox serving. Planning and Economic Development will be chaired by Jeremy Ashcraft with Charles Liddell and Teresa Popejoy serving. Utilities will be chaired by Charlie Hastings with Jeremy Ashcraft and Joe Buck serving. Parks will be chaired by Bob Bishop with Joe Buck and Charlie Hastings serving. And Public Works will be chaired by Gary Fox with Charles Liddell and Teresa Popejoy serving. Those are the same committees and chairmen that were established in 2012. So Carol Sue, it'll be easier for you in the minutes just to look at the back of the book.
Yes, I've
Okay.
got it here. Thank you, Chuck.
Okay, you're welcome.
Okay, that is an amendment, or was presented as an amendment. Do we have a second on the
I'll
amendment?
second that.
Okay, the amendment has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion or any clarification needed for the amendment? Okay, hearing none, please call for the vote on the amendment.
Chuck Liddell,
Yes.
Teresa Popejoy,
Yes.
Charlie Hastings,
Yes.
Gary Fox,
Yes.
Joe Buck,
Yes.
Bob Bishop,
Yes.
Jeremy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Resolution 2013-1, I'm sorry, the amendments on Resolution 2013-1 pass on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed. Now Resolution 2013-1 in its entirety. Please call for the vote.
Chuck Liddell,
Yes.
Teresa Popejoy,
Yes.
Charlie Hastings,
Yes.
Gary Fox,
Yes.
Joe Buck,
Yes.
Bob Bishop,
Yes.
Jeremy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Resolution 2013-1 passes in its entirety on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed. Resolution 2013-2, Councilman Bishop, please.
Resolution 2013-2, a resolution of the Common Council of the City of Logansport, Indiana, appointing a fellow member of the Common Council to the city, or to the CAS, Logansport Economic Development Organization, known as CLEDO now. Board of Directors for the year of 2013. Your Honor, I call for a vote on Resolution 2013-2.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there, under Section 1, do you have an amendment?
Yes, Your Honor, I'd like to amend Resolution 2013-02. Under Section 1, I would like to insert the name Bob Bishop on the blank as our appointment for the one-year term on the CAS Logansport Economic Development Organization.
Second.
The amendment has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Call for a vote on the amendment as presented.
Teresa Popejoy,
Yes.
Chuck Liddell,
Yes.
Charlie Hastings,
Yes.
Gary Fox,
Yes.
Joe Buck,
Yes.
Bob Bishop,
Yes.
Jeremy Ashcraft.
Yes.
The amendment to Resolution 2013-2 passes on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed. Now Resolution 2013 in its entirety, please.
Teresa Popejoy,
Yes.
Chuck Liddell,
Yes.
Charlie Hastings,
Yes.
Gary Fox,
Yes.
Joe Buck,
Yes.
Bob Bishop,
Yes.
Jeremy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Resolution 2013-2 passes on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed. Resolution 2013-3, Councilperson Popejoy, please.
Resolution 2013-3, a resolution of the Common Council of the City of Logansport, Indiana, appointing representatives to the Logansport Redevelopment Commission. Mayor Franklin, I call for a vote on Resolution 2013-3.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Would anybody care to make an amendment under Section 1?
Yes, Your Honor, I'd like to amend Resolution 2013-03, filling in the two blanks in Section 1 with the names of Pat Shaver and Gary Fox, which we decided at our Rules Committee meeting earlier today to represent us on the Logansport Redevelopment Commission.
Second.
Resolution 2013-3 has an amendment pending. It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion regarding the amendment? Please call for the vote on the amendment to Resolution 2013-3.
Jeremy Ashcraft,
Yes.
Bob Bishop,
Yes.
Joe Buck,
Yes.
Gary Fox,
Yes.
Charlie Hastings,
Yes.
Chuck Liddell,
Yes.
and Teresa Popejoy.
Yes.
The amendment to Resolution 2013-3 passes on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed. Now Resolution 2013-3 in its entirety.
Teresa Popejoy,
Yes.
Chuck Liddell,
Yes.
Charlie Hastings,
Yes.
Gary Fox,
Yes.
Joe Buck,
Yes.
Bob Bishop,
Yes.
Jeremy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Resolution 2013-3 passes on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed. Resolution 2013-4, Councilman Ashcraft, please.
Resolution 2013-4, a resolution of the Common Council of the City of Logansport, Indiana, appointing members to the Logansport Plan Commission. Your Honor, I call for a vote on Resolution 2013-04.
Second.
Resolution 2013-4 has been moved and properly seconded. Would anybody care to make an amendment under Section 1
Yes, Your Honor, I'd like to propose an amendment for Resolution 2013-04. Under Section 1, where we have the three blanks, I would like to have the names inserted there as decided by council earlier today, with Mr. Terry Homburg, Mr. Jeremy Ashcraft, and Mr. Paul Hartman as the three members to serve on the Plan Commission for the following year.
Second.
Catching up with my printing. Give me a second. Okay, we have an amendment under Section 1 on Resolution 2013-04 that's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Call for the vote on the amendment to Resolution 2013-4.
Lisa Popejoy.
Yes.
Chuck Liddell.
Yes.
Charlie Hastings.
Yes.
Gary Fox.
Yes.
Joe Buck.
Yes.
Bob Bishop.
Yes.
Jeremy Ashcraft.
Yes.
The amendment to Resolution 2013-04 passes on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed. Now Resolution 2013-04 in its entirety, please.
Gary Fox.
Yes.
Charlie Hastings.
Yes.
Chuck Liddell.
Yes.
Teresa Popejoy.
Yes.
Joe Buck.
Yes.
Bob Bishop.
Yes.
Jeremy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Resolution 2013-04 passes on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed. Under old business, ordinance 2012-50. Councilman Hastings, please.
Ordinance 2012-50, an ordinance to create the Logansport Gateway Overlay Zone with the aim of generating employment opportunities, sustainable economic growth, and long-term fiscal stability for the city of Logansport and its planning jurisdictions, all in pursuance of the comprehensive plan of the city of Logansport and in accordance with the advisory planning law of the state of Indiana. Herein are a call for a vote, second reading on ordinance 2012-50.
Second.
Ordinance 2012-50 has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote on ordinance 2012-50.
Charlie Hastings.
Yes.
Chuck Liddell.
Yes.
Teresa Popejoy.
Yes.
Jeremy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Bob Bishop.
Yes.
Joe Buck.
Yes.
Gary Fox.
Yes.
Ordinance 2012-50 passes on second reading on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed. Ordinance 2012-51.
Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion that we table ordinance 2012-51 till the February meeting so that we can look into questions that were presented here tonight. It leaves me uncertain of what we are and what we aren't approving, and I don't feel like I'm up to speed on to where I need to make an informed vote. So I'd like to make a motion to table it until February.
We have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion regarding the motion? Call for a vote on tabling ordinance 2012-51.
Jeremy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Bob Bishop.
Yes.
Joe Buck.
Yes.
Gary Fox.
Yes.
Charlie Hastings.
Yes.
Chuck Liddell.
Yes.
Teresa Popejoy.
Yes.
Who seconded that motion? Jeremy Ashcraft. Ordinance 2012-51 is tabled until our February meeting. This will return in February. Ordinance 2012-52. Councilman Buck, please. Oh, wait, Councilman Buck. Okay.
Ordinance 2012-52, amending the Logansport and Friend zoning ordinance, sidewalk and interior signage. I'd like to call for a vote on ordinance 2012-52.
Second.
Ordinance 2012-52 has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote on ordinance 2012-52.
Joe Buck.
Yes.
Gary Fox.
Yes.
Charlie Hastings.
Yes.
Chuck Liddell.
Yes.
Teresa Popejoy.
Yes.
Jeremy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Bob Bishop.
Yes.
Ordinance 2012-52 passes on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed. Ordinance 2012-53. Councilman Fox, please.
Ordinance 2012-53, amending the Logansport and Fringe zoning ordinance, definition of plan review committee. I call for a second reading of Ordinance 2012-53.
Second.
Ordinance 2012-53 has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for a vote on ordinance 2012-53.
Gary Fox,
Yes.
Charlie Hastings.
Yes.
Chuck Liddell,
Yes.
Teresa Popejoy,
Yes.
Joe Buck,
Yes.
Bob Bishop,
Yes.
Jeremy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Ordinance 2012-53 passes on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed. Ordinance 2012-54. Councilman Liddell, please.
Ordinance 2012-54, an ordinance amending the Logansport and fringe zoning ordinance parking standards. Your Honor, I call for a vote, second reading on ordinance 2012-54.
Second.
Ordinance 2012-54 has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Call for a vote on ordinance 2012-54.
Chuck Liddell,
Yes.
Teresa Popejoy,
Yes.
Charlie Hastings.
Yes.
Gary Fox,
Yes.
Joe Buck,
Yes.
Bob Bishop,
Yes.
Jeremy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Ordinance 2012-54 passes on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed. Under additional new business, Resolution 2013-05. Councilman Bishop, please.
Resolution number 2013-05, a resolution of the Common Council of the City of Logansport, Indiana, authorizing the expenditure of seeded funds for technical contractual services. Your Honor, I call for a vote on Resolution 2013-05.
Second.
Resolution 2013-5 has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion?
Is Resolution 2013-05 only one page?
No, there's 2 pages to it. There should be one back there on the table.
I didn't get the second half.
I don't have the second, so I don't know what.
It's just the signatures, isn't it?
Yes.
It's actually a little bit more. What is it?
I assumed it was just signatures.
I don't know. Yeah, I would think.
Dollar,
It must be.
dollar amount should be on it, too.
I don't think so. There is no dollar on this.
Oh, okay. And that's a big part of it. The signature's in $650,000.
Yeah.
No amount on the first
Oh, they
page.
left that off, huh?
Yeah.
I have mine.
That wasn't good.
Okay.
Yeah, because actually it doesn't say that. anywhere.
Councilman Liddell, would you care to read page 2 out loud?
Yeah, I'll read page 2. Continuing from page 1, now therefore be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of Logansport, Indiana, Section 1, an amount of $650,000 from available CEDAT funds is hereby transferred and appropriated to the General Fund Board of Works Contractual Services to engage technical contractual services and generally to promote development of the community in such manners as may be determined by the Board of Public Works and Safety from time to time to advance these objectives. Section 2, this ordinance shall be in full force and effect from and after its passage by the Common Council and approval of the Mayor of the City of Logansport, Indiana, introduced and filed today. Then signatures.
Okay. Is there a motion to move it, to advance this resolution?
I make a
Second.
motion.
Okay. I thought it was already moved and seconded.
Well, was it?
Oh,
Yes.
It
Yeah,
was.
it was.
Okay, all right,
It was.
got it.
Okay. Okay. So page 2 has been read into the record now. Is there any discussion regarding Resolution 2013-5?
Mr. Mayor, I just have could you just give me some direction on what we're doing? We allocated an awful lot of money in 2012 and now $650,000. Are we at a point where we can discuss what and where the money's going?
Yes, we're perfectly happy to discuss that. What's your question?
What and where's the money going?
The money is, as spelled out in here, for, let me find it, contractual services to engage technical and contractual services and generally to promote development of the community. Much of this money is going to be directed towards services related to the proposed new power plant.
Okay.
It's a $630 million project, and quite honestly, there are a very limited number of people available, even in the region, that could advise us as to the best approach to take. We have a team of experts that are advising us as to the methodology and the size and the scope of everything that's going to be required for that.
Okay, that was what I was thinking, but
Yeah.
wasn't for sure, so
Yeah.
thanks, Ted.
Thank you. Is there any more questions regarding Resolution 2013-05? Hearing none, a call for the vote on Resolution 2013-05.
Bob Bishop,
Yes.
Joe Buck,
Yes.
Gary Fox,
Yes.
Charlie Hastings,
Yes.
Chuck Liddell,
Yes.
Teresa Popejoy. Yes. Jeremy Ashcraft,
Yes.
Resolution 2013-05 passes on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed. Resolution 2013-06. Councilperson Popejoy, please.
Resolution 2013-6, a resolution of the Common Council of the City of Logansport, Indiana, granting personal property tax abatement to Logansport Machine Company Incorporated for certain equipment located within the City of Logansport. Mayor Franklin, I call for a vote on Resolution 2013-6.
Second.
Resolution 2013-6 has been moved and properly seconded. I'd like to welcome Connie Neininger to our meeting. She is the president of the Cass Logan Economic Development Organization. And if there's any questions,
Thank you, Mayor, Council. And also with me this evening is Bill Holt with Logansport Machine. Again, we would like to request a favorable decision on this resolution to request a tax abatement for 5 years for personal property. Logansport Machine is making an improvement in additional equipment and the potential of adding new employees. They currently stand at 36 employees, with 15 of those being salary and 13 of them being salary and 23 of them being manufacturing employees at this point in time. They have a good outlook on future growth within the company, and they have not requested abatement previously at this point in time and have made some other improvements without abatement. So again, Bill is here with me to answer any questions you may have on the company.
yes.
Bill, right? First, I want to commend you on the way your memo of understanding here, and also to bring up to Connie that in the past, this tends to get figured 2 different ways. Sometimes the way you did it, I like the way you did it. You took the new jobs and added to it, and then 80% of that, and that's what you've pledged. I appreciate that, because we have some coming in that come in at not considering the new jobs, and we take 80% of that, and I see that we can give an abatement on losing jobs, and I don't agree with that. So I wanted to point that out, and for Connie's sake also, that hopefully in the future we can do it that way. And that's it. And I thank you for creating 3 more jobs, hopefully, or 2. Sorry.
Bill, I would like to again apologize for the confusion last month. And we hope to be able to make it. Oh. I wasn't going to call you out.
No problem.
Okay, Resolution 2013-06. Is there any more discussion? Call for the vote on Resolution 2013-6.
Teresa Popejoy. Yes. Chuck Liddell,
Yes.
Charlie Hastings.
Yes.
Gary Fox,
Yes.
Joe Buck,
Yes.
Bob Bishop.
Yes.
Jeremy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Resolution 2013-6 passes on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed. Congratulations, Bill, and thank you again for your investment.
Thank you very much.
Ordinance 2013-1. Councilman Ashcraft, please.
Ordinance 2013-1, an ordinance to create the Port Authority of Logansport to provide for its governance by the Board of Directors to be appointed by the mayor with the advice and consent of the Common Council, and to promote the community's economic development, all in accordance with the Port Authority statute of the state of Indiana. Your Honor, I call for a vote on ordinance 2013-1.
Second.
Ordinance 2013-1 has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Yes, please, come forward. State your name again, please.
Mercedes Grove. I see where there's going to be, if this passes, there will be a development plan, but I'm just reading this quickly, but I was wondering if there's a time frame for the development plan. This is page from section 9.
Mercedes, it's my understanding that that development plan would be developed by the board, and the board hasn't been appointed yet. So I really couldn't give you an answer to that question until after the board becomes its own entity at that point in time, and they would be responsible for, just like the airport board has a development plan and the utility service board has a development plan. So to be able to read into this document to say that there is a timeline, we just couldn't say that right now. And,
Okay.
but I would expect one. Yeah, I can't say when, but
Okay.
all right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any more discussion regarding ordinance 2013-1? Yes, please come forward and state your name.
John Tidrick, 1917 Woodlawn, Logansport. Now, this Port Authority, if you guys are going to appoint the board, does that mean you guys can fire them again?
I don't think this board would operate that way. Each statute is very specific as to the duties and responsibilities of the board. So I don't believe that there is a methodology to unappoint or to dismiss the board.
I just wondered, and then where it gives you the authority to, where you can take over people's property if the city deems this, or you deem that it's necessary to do something.
I believe it's a multi-stage process that would have to do that, including public hearings. It would have to go through the board first and then ultimately arrive at the city council.
Boy, it's an awful lot of authority for you people.
This is, there's not very many boards, and the only one I'm aware of that the Indiana Code says that we can dismiss all at once is the TIF board. As far as I know, do you know of any other, Mayor?
I don't know of any other.
I think that's the only one, actually, that you can actually do that. Most of these boards, are for a time period.
Yeah, but when you take over people's property, if the board agrees with you, and I'm not saying I wouldn't agree with you too, but it seems like an awful lot of power for.
I don't think we could be taking over anybody's property unless it was.
But it's in there.
We're very reluctant to do that. This board could exercise the powers of eminent domain, and I don't know of a case where that's ever taken place in Cass County.
Yeah, maybe not, but it's still in there. It says that.
And that's a state statute that spells out the duties and authorities of this. It's not what this board establishes. This city council will only establish the Port Authority. It doesn't establish the powers and duties and authority of the Port Authority. It's spelled out by the state. We just get to decide if we're going to have one or not. Thanks, John.
Thank you, Mr. Tedrick.
Is there any more discussion regarding ordinance 2013-1? Call for the question on ordinance 2013-1.
Chairman Ashcraft?
Yes.
Bob Bishop?
Yes.
Joe Buck?
Yes.
Gary Fox?
Yes.
Charlie Hastings?
Yes.
Chuck Liddell?
Yes.
Teresa Popejoy?
Yes.
Ordinance 2013-1 passes on first reading on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed. Ordinance 2013-2, Councilman Hastings, please.
Ordinance 2013-02, an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Logansport, Indiana, appropriating funds to the Logan's Landing Organization for the Downtown Revitalization Program. Your Honor, call for a vote on ordinance 2013-2.
Second.
Ordinance 2013-2 has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Councilman Bishop, please.
Yeah, I got the packet here on the facade program here, and it looks like up to now they've spent about $198,325, what I have here, and of that, the public supplied 57,000. That's about 30% that I believe the taxpayers paying. I just I kind of object to this because yeah, I've got the list of different things. I'm not going to call any certain business out here, but it's just that we have it's a painting an office building. You know, we're paying to a half the price of painting, putting window. A lot of this basically is paying for windows, painting, and awnings, and a lot of them here we pay for about half the cost. There's, you know, we got a pretty good list of them here. And I just, you know, here's a law office of $4,200. We paid $2,100. So I'm not going to call out any certain one because I don't blame any of the people that are taking this money. But I just don't believe that if I went up to my constituents in Ward 1 and for $20,000, isn't that what we're asking for here?
Yes.
That we got, say, 18,000 people in the city of Logansport, a little over. So it's around $1 a piece for every citizen. And so I'm thinking if I go up to the households in my ward and they got 4 people in their house and I'm saying, give me $4 so I can give it to a downtown business to paint their office. I don't think I'd get a very good reply from the citizens in my ward. I don't think they would really want to do that. And so that we're actually doing that by taking this money from the taxpayers and giving it to private business. It's not an incentive except for the fact that they do have to put money because we're not creating jobs. We're not actually adding to the tax base. If we did add to the tax base, downtown is a downtown TIF district, which that would be a new tax increment, which it would be held in that tax or in the TIF district downtown. We already spend we spent about $65,000 last year, in 2012, on the downtown through the TIF funds, and which puts in sidewalks, street lights,
Curbs.
the
Curbing.
and the pocket parks, which is really doing a great job, and that is actually the business taxes paying for the downtown. I don't have a problem with that, but this is tax money from the citizens, and so I just don't think that my people would want to have to pay to paint somebody's office building downtown or put awnings on them. So, you know, I'm gonna vote no against this, and I just wanted to make that clear of why.
I would like to just chime in and say that I disagree with your assessment of that. I think that if you went door to door to all of your constituents and asked them if they wanted to pay X amount of dollars to have the streets plowed, to have their trash taken away, to have, you know, all of the services and products that most people would say no, because people don't want to pay for anything. That's kind of the nature of the beast. Heck no, I don't want to pay. I do know some businesses that have taken advantage of this. I do know that some businesses who have grown as a result of improving their facade, improving the front of their building, improving their outlook, and have added employees, which is economic development. I think it's a program that has not only had history, but is one of them that can show success in not only the addition, but the sustainability of businesses in our downtown. When we worry about it disappearing, sometimes new awnings or help with windows or a new paint job is something that keeps that business here and keeps those businesses on the tax roll. So we just fundamentally disagree with, you know, your stance versus mine, but I'm an advocate for this program and think that it's something that has paid for itself directly in benefits for our community.
I just want to point out that there's a difference between plowing streets and picking up, you know, trash and all this stuff. That's an essential service that we need to provide what they pay taxes for. This is putting money into a private business. Help.
I understand.
By this council to give $200,000 to a movie theater from an out-of-community developer. So if we can support that, I surely think we can find $20,000 to support locally owned businesses in downtown Logansport.
And that 200,000 is bringing in a $4 million investment with
maybe
Taxes.
but at any rate,
$120,000 a year in taxes.
money.
So we're getting that money back, and besides that, actually the taxpayers aren't paying any of that.
TIF money is property tax money. That's tax money.
Paid by the business.
What's non-reverting host community fund?
What's that?
What's the non-reverting host community fund? Yeah, that's tipping fees.
Mm-hmm.
Those aren't tax dollars.
Yeah, I'd like to see that tipping fees go to reduce our trash instead of paying for
Well,
awnings.
they're not tax dollars.
Okay, I saw a hand go up. Tom, would you like to come to the microphone? Please state your name.
Tom Partridge. I just make a little comment about that, Bob. We took advantage of it at the Pear Tree Gallery. Not only, I'm not sure where this office got painted, because I thought all this money was supposed to go for exterior, kind of help windows, awnings.
It's exterior paint.
It was exterior paint.
Yeah.
Okay, so it wasn't somebody's office.
No, it was
Okay.
facade.
I think it's a great program. A lot of us have old buildings, okay, 125-year-old buildings at least. And they require a lot of maintenance, and they require a lot of upkeep. We got money to have the east side of our building, which is all brick, the original brick, huge area, cost $10,000 for me to have it tuck pointed and sealed. It needed it, okay? I mean, if you don't do it, you're going to have a problem. We got money to help us do that, because honestly, our little business, I haven't got $10,000 to pop out and do that, so it was greatly appreciated. There are, guidelines to this. Maybe they need to be tightened up a little bit or whatever, I don't know, but yeah, you give tax abatements to a big company because they bring in machinery and they might create 2 or 3 jobs, which is great. Little people downtown, we don't get tax abatements for anything, and I put in a couple pieces of equipment this year, nowhere near what Logan Machine's going to plump down, but in the grand scheme of things, percentage-wise, it's pretty doggone similar. But I don't get tax abatements. You can't get them. So, it's help for the little guy. It's help for that kind of thing. And if you guys can, like Jeremy said, throw some money at something like that with the potential, and I understand how much taxes or property taxes are going to be paid on something like that, going to create a couple of jobs, but, it is something that's needed. And I know things are tight, but I think it's a good thing. That's all I want to say.
Well, I definitely, and I pointed out that I don't blame you guys for taking it. If I was you, I would take it also. It's just like take any advantage you can in taxes or anything. But, do you act, I just don't think my constituents in the first ward really want to help you guys remodel your businesses. I just don't.
I don't particularly want to help people on welfare, but I do.
Well, I know.
I mean, it all comes out.
But that's my job, is to protect my people, and so I'm not just, giving their money away, for anything.
Yeah.
And we tend to do that a lot. Government does.
Yeah, I know.
And so that's my job to protect my people, and I just don't believe if I went door to door. I would love to see these other councilmen go door to door and ask their people for this money and see the reply that they would get. I don't think it'd be very positive.
Yeah,
but I don't.
Anytime you ask money,
I don't blame
people
you.
for money that doesn't concern them, they're not happy about it.
Now, if this is a city building, it's different. That's the taxpayers own that. So, I don't mind putting money into that. That's our job. But I think we just have to. And downtown, thinking of the fact that it is a TIF district, and we do put a lot of money in downtown. But like I said, I don't blame any of you guys for taking it.
Yeah.
I want to make that real clear.
Anybody take it.
Don't blame me.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I understand where you're coming from.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, is there any more discussion? Please come forward.
Diana Brown. As far as this funding goes, we're trying to build up downtown, put new housing in, working with other countries to get manufacturing jobs and business and whatever here. Nobody wants to come to a dreary, run-down, dilapidated downtown. So any help that can be given to downtown to improve its facade, attract people, bring people downtown is worth a lot more than is given.
Thanks, Diana.
Becky?
And just for one little comment I'd like to make, if we lose any more downtown, we're not going to have a downtown. It's that simple.
State
I'd
your
like to
name and
start-
address, please.
Sure. Becky Harris. Post Office Box 473 is the Logan's Landing address, Executive Director of Logan's Landing. First thing I'd like to say to Councilman Hastings is amen. The purpose of Logan's Landing, of the Downtown Revitalization Organization, as a part of the National Main Street Program, is to attract new businesses to the downtown, to maintain the businesses that are already there, as well as to beautify the downtown and make it a drawing card for people within the community and outside the community to come and visit. Festivals, shopping, etc. The natural beauty, the trails, you name it. Anything that's going to bring people downtown, we are in favor of doing that. As Mr. Partridge pointed out, a lot of the businesses that have taken advantage of the facade program in the past are not the type of businesses that typically qualify for incentive programs. They're the small businesses. And yes, you do not see a direct result in most cases of additional employees being added. They're not large businesses to begin with. Most of them are mom and pop operations. You can, if you look at the numbers that were handed out to you in the packets, you can see that over the course since 2007, when the program began, we've had a grand total of $285,767.19 in total project costs. The facade funds that were put towards that was $80,957.68, which leaves a difference of $204,809.51. And when you consider that the facade funds were only 80,000 plus of that, that is a 2.5 to 1 ratio of return on investment. For every dollar in facade funds handed out, it averaged out to a little bit over $2.50 coming back. That's a pretty darn good return on investment. I'm preaching the gospel of downtown revitalization. I feel very strongly about it. I understand not everybody's going to agree with that, and I totally respect everybody's personal opinion on this. But if your downtown continues to dry up and blow away, you're going to have a harder time getting investment, getting outside investors or getting people who already live in the community to put money on the table to invest in their community. If they do not see efforts being made to help the businesses that are already here and efforts being made to help attract the small businesses that tend to fall through the cracks when it comes to incentive programs, they're going to look elsewhere. We would really hate to see that happen. We would like to see this program continue. Logan's Landing has put some of our own money into this. The amount that the city has given in the past to date has been a total of $60,000. The remaining almost $21,000 came from Logan's Landing, with some money that we had remaining from a grant sum that we had received from IHCDA. Many of the businesses that have received this funding have been new businesses. The availability of this funding factored into their decision to open a new business in the downtown. When they're looking at their facts and figures and they're saying, well, if I do this downtown, I can apply for up to $5,000 in matching funds. It's also a match. They're not just getting free money. They're having to match the money. We've also had many long-time existing businesses, as Mr. Partridge said, who have taken advantage of this program. And that's something that I hear a lot. I don't know if you folks hear it, but it seems like there are always incentives being offered for the new guy. What about the guy who's been in business for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years? It seems like they're forgotten, and this is one program that they can qualify for and that lets them know that people do care about them. We haven't forgotten about the people who have been opening their doors every day for years. So I would ask you to please consider strongly funding this. We're asking for $20,000. We're anticipating that would last us about a year. That was the same level of funding that the city had provided to us previously. It was a 3-year commitment at $20,000 per year, and it was paid from the host, whatever, tipping fees. So I would ask you to please consider that. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
You know, by your figures there, basically you're saying that we're providing about 30%, and then the business is providing the other 2/3 of it. You know, I take, for example, the theater was brought up, close to a $4 million investment, and our incentive was about 5.5% on that. This 30%, that's a pretty good incentive. It's quite a bit more than we give anybody else, actually.
The 30%, I believe, if I'm understanding your system of analyzing this, that 30% includes the money that was put in by Logan's Landing.
Yeah.
Okay, so
And you put in,
60,000.
Where did this 20 out of the 60 come from, the other 20?
It came from money that was quote-unquote left over from a grant that we had received from IHCDA, Indiana Housing Community Development Authority. Correct.
Okay,
Now,
thank you.
Thank you.
one of the figures that doesn't really show on that, this is a facade program. It does not show the internal investment in that same building. There's a
Quite
new
true.
restaurant in town that completely remodeled the whole building. So her figure of $250,000 invested doesn't include all of the internal work and money invested in these businesses. And that, I do have one problem with it. I think we can approve this for 1 year, but I think this really needs to be taken to LEDF, because I think LEDF is, or CLEDF, is where the city has already paid a certain amount of money, and I think this should be one of their programs.
I appreciate that.
Okay, one thing, like you're bringing up the extra, you know, if they put $200,000 in their business or whatever, well, if they sell that business, they get that money back. They sell that business and we put $10,000 in it, we're not getting that $10,000. My taxpayers aren't getting that back.
No, they're
The
not.
business gets to keep it.
They're not getting that back, but we're getting the business in town,
Yeah.
and that provides economic development, the way I see it.
And it's definitely improving the curb appeal of the community. When the folks come from the Chinese delegation, I'm sure they're going to come through downtown. They're going to be coming to the city building. Your downtown is the welcome mat. It's the first impression that people get of the community. We're not saying downtown's more important than other parts of the community, but we'd like to at least think we're equally important.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is there any more discussion? Are we ready for a vote? Thanks, Becky. All right. Ordinance 2013-2 has been moved and properly seconded, and we have allowed for discussion.
Charlie Hastings?
Yes.
Chuck Liddell?
Yes.
Teresa Popejoy?
Yes.
Jeremy Ashcraft?
Yes.
Bob Bishop?
No.
Joe Buck?
Yes.
Gary Fox?
Yes.
Ordinance 2013-2 passes on a vote of 6 in favor and 1 opposed. Ordinance 2013-3. I forget where I left off. Let's try Councilman Fox.
Ordinance 2013-3, an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Logansport, Indiana, approving a fully executed grant agreement from the United States Environmental Protection Agency to the City of Logansport. I motion for ordinance 2013-3.
Second.
Ordinance 2013-3 has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll call for a vote on ordinance 2013-3.
Gary Fox?
Yes.
Charlie Hastings?
Yes.
Chuck Liddell?
Yes.
Teresa Popejoy?
Yes.
Jeremy Ashcraft?
Yes.
Bob Bishop?
Yes.
Joe Buck?
Yes.
Ordinance 2013-3 passes on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed. Ordinance 2013-4. Councilman Ashcraft.
Ordinance 2013-4, an ordinance approving a fully executed grant agreement from the Indiana Department of Transportation under the 2012 Safe Routes to Schools program. Your Honor, I call for a vote on ordinance 2013-04.
Second.
Ordinance 2013-4 has been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I call for the vote on ordinance 2013-4.
Jimmy Ashcraft?
Yes.
Bob Bishop?
Yes.
Joe Buck?
Yes.
Gary Fox?
Yes.
Tommy Hastings?
Yes.
Chuck Liddell?
Yes.
Teresa Popejoy?
Yes.
Ordinance 2013-4 passes on a vote of 7 in favor, 0 opposed. Are there any board member comments? Are there any visitor comments? Is there any miscellaneous business, including matters not already considered? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.